um gave us a video that pretty much said, I think the title was "Women Will Need Men," or "Black Women Will Need Black Men," or "Black Women Will Need Men," or something along those lines. Women will need men, or something. And it was sourced from the original video, which I did see about 3 weeks ago, maybe 3.5 weeks ago. I did actually see that original video. And I had my issues with it because I think it wasn't factoring in. By the way, the links are in the description for both O'Shea's video and for the original video that O'Shea was commenting on, that I'm now commenting on, and I'm also commenting on O'Shea's video also, obviously. Um, but yeah, the video titled, "Women Will Need Men." Um, and so shout out to Victor. What's going on, Vic? Right? And yeah. So women needing men. So I've said this, this it's no longer a luxury, right, for women. Now, um I would be remiss if I didn't mention divorce and what divorce does to men, and how many young men are weary of getting married because we do have a 50% divorce rate in America. Um and for black men and black America, for black America, it's 70 and 80% divorce rate. So I would be remiss if I didn't mention that, right? And yeah, so that is going to cause men to be a little weary of this, right? Of being married, especially in the black community when black women are divorcing black men at a clip of 70 and 80%, like, or filing for divorce on black men at such an alarming rate. That's something that needs to be factored in, number one. Number two, as those of you have heard me say before, American Enterprise Institute reported about 6 years ago now, 5, 6 years ago now, um, the marriage rate in America from poor to upper middle class. So 26% of poor Americans are married, 39% of middle class, 56% of upper middle class and above Americans are married. Now, I have said multiple times, from my understanding, and if I remember correctly, rest in peace, Kevin Samuels. Kevin Samuels has said America is turning marriage into an elite institution. Now, this is when I get in my lefty bag, and this is when I critique the right a little bit, the political right, the economic right. What did y'all think was going to happen when you live in a capitalist society, a neoliberal society, and you put a price tag on everything? You thought that wasn't going to affect marriage also? These people are these people, the men, and let's be very clear, when we say people, we mean men in this particular instance. These men can't afford marriage, right? So the original video, which was speaking about dating being more expensive and everything, that's why your men are staying home. That's why they're staying in their parents' basements. That's why they are not dating. They know they can't afford to date, and they definitely know they can't afford a relationship, and they most definitely know they cannot afford marriage. That is why marriage is becoming an elite institution. And so the right things that they're just going to hit people upside the head with, work harder and morality and the church and Christianity, and that's going to fix, it's not going to fix it. Y'all got to get real and talk about the numbers. All that fake motivational talk and all that Bible and morality is not going to fix this. Not to mention, your daughters are insane with their standards, air quotes, standards, and their materialism and their consumerism, right? And so the right is critiquing the fact that these young people, particularly young men, are not interested in marriage. Excuse me. These young people, young men, are not interested in marriage. But what they're not being honest about is that they're not in the young men can't afford it, right? And then afford what? You're risking you're and yes, it is a risk. It is a gamble, and it is you do have to have the confidence, right, not to fall into being risk averse. But that 50% divorce rate, so you gamble in half, and then if you're in the black community and you're a black man, 70-80% divorce rate, right? And our answer to the men is to try harder and work harder and make more money, and here's a Bible in your face. And what the air quotes right thing to do is morality talk, right? That's how we try to mitigate for a 70%, 80% divorce rate in the black community and a 50, excuse me, percent divorce rate around America. There's always going to be poor and regular people. There's always going to be poor and regular people. And what we're telling those poor men is to get married anyway. First of all, the women don't want to marry them. Oops. The women are screaming from the mountaintop. They're telling you they don't want to marry those men. So those men will not get married, not in any great number. And the ones that do will get divorced. Right? They so we this is some interesting times that we're living in, and I would like to direct y'all to Professor Green Gorilla's nice stream that he did is a little over 2 hours long, um where he spoke about the family or the end of the family, and he juxtaposed, and he was reading different articles, juxtaposed feminism to capitalism, and how these two things have acted in concert to rip up the family. And then when we rip up the American family in general, but then when we focus um, on the black community, right, you could just imagine what these two things have done to the black community in particular, right? So that's my critique of how the right tries to mitigate. The left don't even have no answers, as evidenced by when I spoke to FD Signifier about what the left answer is to men wanting to be married and have children eventually. They don't have an answer. Their answer is actually, well, why do you want that in patriarchy? Okay, so the right's answer is women being barefoot and pregnant again, not working, and men making more money, which is just not gonna happen. I'm sorry, y'all. It's just not. That's not. We're just not going back to the 1950s. That really didn't exist, at least for the black community, in that way, anyway. Right. So the left has their own version of respectability, and then the right has their own version of respectability, and it's ripping up the black community. Right. Anybody else see smoke bombs going off? And I think I see some trees shuffling around. Oh, look, it's nameless. Right? And Diasporel says, read my previous post and thank you for the super chat. And he says, black women say black men need to work harder, while some black women paid to date white men. Salute to the salute to the Crimson Cure. Yesterday's Fogo did show story. Okay, so I'll look that up. I'll go. I'll check out her most recent video. Right. I'll check out her most recent video. And once again, thank you for the super chat. Yeah, well, we already know that for black women and white men, how many black women, and remember, black women and white men have like a low divorce rate. There you go. So it's the status and the money. So even if he doesn't have the money, just that white skin alone, she ain't going nowhere unless this man damn near, is about to delete her or something, right? So let me go over a couple of points that I have here. Give me a second, yo. And so, as I said, conservatives. Women need, I don't know why I said conservatives because I read the other point earlier and I touched on it already, but I'm going to go over it again. Um, Women need men, right? So this is something that I said, I think in a video I was covering, speaking about Kim Foster. That's Kim from For Harriet. Women need men on an individual level and on a macro level, societal level. Women need men. Very few women are going to reach the Kim Foster level of hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, where they can opt out of being in a heterosexual relationship with a man, right? Very few women are going to get to that level. Women in general need men. And that's why my title is Necessity versus Desire. You may not desire to be in a relationship, and if you're not interested in same sex or LGBTQ, these kind of different type of relationships people are engaging in right now, if you're not interested in that, then you're going to need a man or live like a pauper or with your parents or with a relative, right? And shout out to Afro National for the super chat. He said, "Salute, Mr. Z. Salute, salute. What's going on?" Right? Women need men. What's the median income for women in America? Has it surpassed? I didn't say average. Median income for women in America. It's not 40 grand. Is it even barely over $35,000? Because I get conflicting numbers, right? I get $25,000 a year, and then I get up to like $34,000 a year. Let's say it's 35. Can't do much with 35 in America. $35,000 a year. By yourself with your own place, paying your own bills? Yeah, no. Not in any major city in America, that is, right? So women need men. Yes, women need a network. Yeah, they need their friends. Yeah, they need their family and their associates. But women need men. Yes, even on an intimate basis, women need men. And I know that hurts a lot of feminist pride. Oh, it hurts their ego. But women need men. Screw your pride and your ego. Or you could keep your pride and your ego and starve. There's that. There's that option, right? And Toya, thank you for the super chat, Toya. Toya says, like it, like it. Thumbs up. Thank you. Oh, excuse me. Let me say that again. Like it, question mark, like it, thumbs up. Right? And so what do we have next? So yeah, so it's me just saying I said what I meant. And so Mr. Z is saying, what do you mean? I said what I meant. Women need men. I said that to Kim from Fort Harriet. I'm saying it again. I said it to FD Signifier. I'm saying it to Real Talk with Yanni. I'm saying it to Paris Malone. I'm saying it to Chrissy. By the way, the women that I just mentioned, it's not that they don't know, and they might not know the exact number. It's not that they don't know the precarious position that women find themselves financially in this country, in this society, in this capitalist society. They want to keep on going in on capitalism while they feed, and shout out to Kim from Forehead, while they feed their subscribers. Let's go back to, we don't need no man feminism, right? We don't need these men feminism. Actually, ma'am, you do. Maybe you individually don't, but women do, black women specifically. No, black women need black men. They can listen to all that independent Beyonce and Destiny's Child stuff they want. When they take those headphones off, excuse me, when they take those headphones off and they look around the world and they look around America and they look around the black community, yeah, they do. Yeah, they need black men. So they can leave all their pride and their ego with that song when they take their headphones off. All that, well, if he don't make more than me, or if he don't make this much more than me, or if he doesn't have all of this, I'd rather be single. Well, you are. How's that going? Y'all keep on living vicariously through the women with some money and some status in this society, and your life sucks. So Kim from Fort Harriet could talk all she want to talk about bringing back we don't need these men feminism. We see that with the extras. How they doing? Ooh, goddamn. Hmm. How the extra women doing? I already went over the celebrity extras. There ain't no point in even going over that again. Oh, on a side note, for those of you that remember Mr. Z saying he needs to hurry up and find that Real Talk with Yanni video from a couple, I think it was maybe a couple weeks ago now, where she kind of mentions being celibate, and she says it in a way that's interesting because you could tell like it's messing with her that she's celibate right now. Yeah, I can't find it. I think she deleted it because I remember it was about 20 minutes long, and I can't find that. I searched yesterday for like a good hour. I think she deleted it. And by the way, I think Real Talk with Yanni might be a secret subscriber of mine. I'll just put it out there. I'm not saying she is. Maybe one of her subbies is, and they send her stuff from me occasionally. But I wouldn't be surprised because I can't, and that's my fault for mentioning it like one too many times before I actually went to go get it. I should have went to go save that thing from the jump. I'm gonna stop telling y'all. Yeah, I'm gonna stop telling y'all when I'm gonna. I'm just gonna start just randomly saving their content because I think I spoke about it too many times, and then when I went to go find it, it's gone. That Kim Foster clip that I kept on playing for you guys a few days ago, that's no longer on her channel either. That's gone. Or at least I couldn't find it. Maybe one of you guys can find it, but I can't find it. So thank God I saved it beforehand, right? So that's my little but I digress. So let's get back to it. Okay, players preferring single women is all about the money. Okay, so in the original video that O'Shea covered, right? It spoke of single women earning about 10% more than married women, and how employers prefer single women over married women, obviously, because married women, they think she's gonna take time off for family, she's gonna take time off to have children. Her priority will not be this job, like it's a bad thing. Um, Her priority will be right, husband and children, obviously. Um, and that's just good old, the system. I mean, because we live in a capitalist society, I'm going to say capitalism, but that's just, yeah. Of course, if you're an employer, you want employees that put you and your productivity above everything, including the women. But because the women are the child bearers, especially if they're starting a family, they recently got married, guess what that means? Eventually, you're going to have to pay maternity leave. Eventually, and depending on how much money her husband earns, maternity leave 2 months, or it could be the whole 9 months, or it could be a year and a half. And that, obviously, you won't be paying maternity leave for a year and a half, but she could be gone for a year and a half. Well, now we already know most employers are just going to replace you, but yeah, that's good. Okay, like I said, this is where you have to start questioning the right. So just like I did to FD Signifier, I would like some of my conservative brothers who may be not all the way falling off the table to the right to ask people on the right. So, what's our answer for capitalism being one of the things that's chewing up families? Now, I'm telling y'all now, they're going to pretend like they don't know what you're talking about. and they're just going to tell you to work harder. I'm telling you now. But y'all saw me press FD. I'm asking some of my more sensible conservative brothers to press some of these black and white conservative men and tell them about the marriage rate. By the way, American Enterprise Institute is not a liberal institute. That's not a liberal think tank, right? So if they're saying 26% of poor Americans are married, 39% of middle class, and 56% of upper middle class and above, and that came out like some 5, 6 years ago, if they're saying that, the question is, what do conservatives have to say about it? What's your answer? Because there's always going to be poor men. So telling the poor men to work harder, what about the new poor men? Right? We have so much data about what was it like a man has to be earning some 42 or something $1,000 a year. Was it 56% more than his female counterparts before he starts to be considered for marriage? Like there's so much information we have on this type of stuff. We have so much data on this stuff, right? And the right is just putting their fingers in their ears and saying, well, we just need to go back to 1953, right? That's the answer from the right. The left, like I said, is like, you just want patriarchy. You just want women barefoot and pregnant. And the right is like, yeah, I do. Right? That's a real question. What is the right's answer to essentially what Dr. Green Gorilla covered? On the left, we know how feminism is ripping these families apart. This kind of idea of this I am woman, hear me roar on steroids. But does the right, I mean, Tucker Carlson did some a tacit approval of this and spoke about it, or at least wrote about it, right? So, like I said, the left is ripping up family with this insane concept of this brand of feminism, whatever it is, third wave feminism at this point. And then the right, I mean, the left is bought into this neoliberal capitalism too, so I can't even fully place this on the right. But the right, this brand of neoliberal capitalism, which the left backs up also, right? Okay, so marriage being increasingly unaffordable on one end, right? So first, let's give our shout outs. Thank you, Sir Anthony, for the super sticker. Thank you. What's going on, Sir Anthony? Right? And I want to cover this. And Leon008 says, I took 6 weeks of excuse me. I took 6 weeks of paid maternity leave. My wife took 3 months with 6 weeks paid. They called her back to work at the hospital. LOL. Both grandparents live 10 minutes away. My circumstances is different. You see? They called her back to work. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We just gotta be honest. We haven't fostered the environment to start, keep, maintain nuclear heterosexual families over the past at least 50 years. More than that. Yeah, about 50 years. About 50 years. And then guess what you find out when you listen to I'm gonna go to sleep listening to that. I'm just gonna listen to it over and over again until I memorize the talking points. The feminists coming out of second wave feminism, that's what they wanted. They wanted to make nuclear families untenable. They wanted to drop the income of men and raise the income of women. That was the goal. They knew they couldn't walk up to your random average white black Latina woman and say, yeah, you don't need your man. Drop him. Come with us in our lesbian coven over here. So you could eat some vagina and live free and fast with other women. F these men. They knew they couldn't do that in the mid 60s. They knew they couldn't. Mr. Z, are you putting on your tinfoil hat? Well, ain't no point now. They admitting it. They've admitted it. Let's increase the pay of women, decrease the pay of men. Right? Have the state fill in all the gaps. So this is where the right is actually correct. Have the state fill in the gaps. Have the state play daddy. And there you go. Right? So marriage is increasingly becoming unaffordable for the men. So I see where O'Shea is going with this. But before we even factor in divorce and divorce rate, the women are already telling you, I need a man that earns 56% more than me. Right? I need him to be a provider on this level. This is before we get into all the women that have called into these different shows, including Kevin's show, and start speaking about six-figure men. That's before we get into that. Right? And so what does this do to poor and lower middle class men, particularly black ones? You can't afford to date seriously. You can't afford marriage. And one of the leading causes for divorce is financial instability, financial issues of the men. And there you go. Y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat, and there you go. It's not a character flaw. I think for decades we were speaking about men, black men in particular, in the low marriage rate and the high child out of wedlock birth rate. We were speaking about that like it was a character flaw, particularly on the men. Yeah, the women got it too. That we definitely could critique them on this, but we're speaking about it like it's some type of failing of black men. And then it started happening to white men. And now we want to talk numbers. And now we want to speak about who's getting married and who's getting divorced and why that's happening and who's staying married. Very important. The part that very few people want to talk about. Not just getting married, but staying married. And who's filing for divorce and why. And so American Enterprise Institute comes out with once again 26% of poor Americans, 39% of middle class, 56% of upper middle class and above Americans are married, and the upper middle class people's marriage lasts longer. So not only are they less likely to get divorced, even if they do, their marriages last longer. So is that a character flaw in poor men, or is that poor women saying, yeah, I'd rather not? Right. So yes, it's increasingly becoming difficult to maintain these things. For men, and this is why I kind of point at the conservatives and say, what's your answer to this? This is the capitalism you swear by, pricing the same men you claim to care about out of maintaining the marriages and the relationships and producing the nuclear families to produce you your nice white boys, your nice white sons who you want to keep white supremacy going and keep American hegemony going. How are those white men supposed to produce those white sons when the white women don't want to marry them because they don't make enough? Let alone the black men and their black sons. This is the capitalism you swear by. What's your answer, Dave Ramsey? Oops. You parents just need to kick them out the house. That's your answer? Take the video games away. Take the porn away. Not a good enough answer, bro. How are you supposed to maintain American hegemony and white dominance when your white daughters don't even want to have children with your white sons? Because they too have bought into this hyper materialism, consumerism, and feminism all at the same time. Don't act like y'all ain't see the white women that was calling into Kevin shows also from across the world, from Canada, from America, from Australia, from New Zealand, from Britain. Right? So yeah, marriage is becoming more unaffordable for men. See, all that hyper consumerism that you sell your daughters comes to bite your sons in the ass in 15, 20 years. When it's time to get married, see, you sell all that hyper consumerism to your 9-year old, 12-year old, 15-year old, 18-year old daughters. And now that we're 28, 30, 32, 35, your daughters think they're better than your sons. They don't want to marry your sons. And there you go. Yeah, like that. And what else we got? Oh yeah, the comment that kept on going around on the original video, right? About men earning more money when they're married and what might be the motivational factor. I don't know. He got another mouth to feed, another few mouths to feed. Number one. Number two, single men don't need to make as much money because our overhead isn't the same. Duh. A single man earning 55, 60 grand a year is all right in his apartment, in his nice secondhand car. He's living all right. It may not be the most glamorous, but he's definitely not super struggling either. God forbid he starts creeping into that 70, $75,000 a year range and above. He's good. And he's not biting off too much life. His vacations are going to be nice. Some of the things he buys are going to be nice. Where that married man, on the other hand, so the single man that earns $55,000 a year, he's good. His married counterpart got to earn 70. Yeah. So the overhead for single men is just not the same. It's just not. And the expectation isn't the same. So yeah, the boss could keep on giving the married man the promotions. He's gonna need it. And this is when we get to divorce. What does all that money that what is that all of that extra earning? There we go. What does all of that extra earning mean when you gamble in day by day with a 50% divorce rate? At least. And then for the black community, for black men in particular, it's more like 70 to 80% divorce rate. What does, and God forbid your woman is educated, college educated. Now you playing around with a 90% divorce rate. What does all of that extra money mean? That increased earnings when every day you wake up, you flipping a coin 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10 at best for a black man. That you leave the toilet seat up one too many times and she filed for divorce on your ass. right? And no, I haven't yet, Toya. So Toya says, Z, have you seen the 1619 project yet? There's a scene when two ladies are remembering their fathers, and it dawned on them what their dad's actually contributions were. It was heartwarming. If you can, I don't know if you're referring to a movie or a video on YouTube, but if you can link it in the comments, put a link to it in the comments, and even if it's a movie that you're referring to, maybe on Netflix or whatever, you could still put the title and everything for me in the comments, and I'll check it out. Right. Thank you, and thank you for giving me that. It's on Hulu. Okay, okay, I'll check it out. I might be able to watch it tonight. Actually, let's see. Unless my lady want to watch something else. She got dibs because I'd be too damn tired to figure out what we want to watch half the time. Right. So this is something that America has to really contend with. And for those of you that haven't checked out Green Gorilla's video, it has somewhat of like a orange and I'll actually link that in the description also because I'm referencing it. I think the title is like the end of the family or the end of the something like that, and it's about what 2 or 3 weeks old at this point, right? Maybe about 2 or 3 weeks old at this point, and he just goes over the family. Y'all give me a second, you guys. Hmm. What happened? You got the food already? Oh, okay. Give me about 10, 15 minutes. I'm on. Okay. That was my lady, y'all. So I'm in the car speaking to you guys, and she drove over to tell me the food is here. So yeah, I got about 15 minutes. Clock ticking. All right, y'all. Um, so let's go over the last point. Oh yeah, I already covered the last point, the divorce rate. So let's let's go over this again. I hear this and I believe this. Women do need men. Black women in particular do need men. We understand this. In the black community, we speak about it ad nauseum. That's not we know this. And at least the men that occupy these spaces understand the heavy lifting. They understand the responsibility. We speak about it all the time. We speak about the accountability all the time. You know what one of the issues is? You know what, excuse me, you know what one of the issues is? The women that don't. The women in their pride, the women in their ego. And shout out to the breakdown. I can't remember which one of the sisters that said it. Essentially, we know y'all gonna save us anyway. Translation: we know we gonna mess up, and we know you men, you black men, are going to save us anyway. Are going to attempt to save us anyway. And that's where you get the young men saying, maybe not. Maybe the boomers were on that. Maybe some of the older Xers were on that. But the masses of millennials, probably not. The masses of Gen Z, even more, less likely. I read it. I read it, PK. PK said, yo, I left a comment on one of your vids. I read it. I read it. About the possession, right? About possession and ownership. Yeah. Yeah. I read it. Right. And so I see where O'Shea is coming from. As O'Shea said, he is subscribed to outside of the this kind of black manosphere, black space on YouTube and stuff. He's subscribed to a lot of motivational speak and a lot of things about economics, and that's great. Nothing wrong with that, right? As I've encouraged my subscribers to check out other non-black manosphere content, other non-manosphere content. so you can get a better understanding of the world, right? But we have to be honest about the fact that much of the reason why young people aren't getting married, this is before we go to even speak about how women, black women specifically, are culpable, is because this environment actually doesn't encourage marriage outside of rhetoric. We haven't bolstered the institutions. Mr. Z is for a nice paid maternity leave. Yeah, this is the lefty coming out of me, right? You want women to work, cool, right? You want that labor participation, cool. And their paid leave is what, 6 weeks for maternity leave for a newborn baby? And then if they live out of town or they live away from family and relatives, the baby's supposed to stay with who? So if it's only 6 weeks for the mother, the father, his paid time off for maternity leave is what? 6 weeks also? So on one hand, you want to maintain your population, you want to maintain your workforce, you want to maintain white supremacy, you want to maintain American hegemony, and on the other hand, you're not really doing the things to bolster up the institutions to provide you with the results you want, right? What happens when the 1% don't even have the people to exploit anymore? God damn, Mr. Z. That's a real question. Y'all are kicking down at men in general, black men specifically, from both ends. You got the right, the pants, right? The red suit pants kicking down with their brand of neoliberal capitalism, and then you got the blue tailored suit kicking down with their brand of neoliberal feminism or neoliberal capitalism with a rainbow bandana around its leg, right? So one leg is kicking down on you with the rainbow flag, the other one is kicking down on you with the don't tread on me flag. The left doesn't have an answer to keep and maintain nuclear families. They're too busy jerking the worm, pun intended. And the right, who's secretly jerking the worm too, goddamn. Ugh. Their answer is to go back to some 1950s model, which is not gonna work. As they complain about men not manning up and what, gambling 50% every day with this woman that she don't file for divorce. That means he got to get Mr. Z. I walked into the pun. Let me say it anyway. That means he has to get heads every day for the rest of his life. It can't come up tails. Giggity. It can't come up tails ever for the rest of his life. 50% every day he's gambling that. And if he's black, he got to get ahead. Giggity. And gamble 30%, 20% positive every day for the rest of his life after he says I do and she says I do, man. And you want to know why the marriage rate has fallen off a cliff. And much of what's holding that marriage rate is the upper middle class and the rich. The further down you come down on the scales of people's finances, that first of all, they're not even getting married to get divorced. That poor people getting married so they can be divorced within 5 years, that's old news. These young men ain't getting married anymore. Why? So she could divorce you in 3 to 5 years, particularly in the black community, for working class or poor men? Yeah, no. So that's my critique of the right. You're not doing the things to bolster the institutions to maintain marriage. Church is not enough. Hitting people upside the head with the Bible is not enough. All this morality talk is not enough. It's not. People's real material. What didn't I remember there was some information that came out years ago about the divorce rate in these red states in America? It's like ridiculous. Exactly. All the Bible Belt. Divorce rate still insane. And yet y'all keep on preaching the same BS old news narrative without bolstering the institutions because it's too left. And let's be honest, all the corporations and the banks and stuff like that that chip y'all off money in the back end when y'all in those smoke-filled rooms, that's gonna mess with their bottom line. Fine then. So for a generation or two, maybe we have another couple generations, men in America are just gonna do the passport bro thing, do the SYSBM thing, and as these other nations kind of catch up, then the whole world will be screwed and nobody will be, getting married. Right. But the moral of the story is women need men. Women need men, and this system incentivizes women to not be with men. It's that simple. Y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. This system incentivizes women not, and definitely encourages their pride. From white women to black women to Latina women. Just ego stroking them over and over and over again. Diddling their little egos, diddling their little pride. And those women go from early 20s to mid 20s to late 20s to early 30s to mid 30s to now we got Xers nicely in their mid 50s, miserable as all get out, barely holding on, about to drink a whole pastry dish of pills and self delete themselves, get themselves out of here, and they still saying, I don't need no man while they're struggling. And I'm not even talking about the rich ones. That's the worst. That's when you know it's a man problem. All your financial needs are met and you still struggling psychologically and mentally. Yeah, that's a man problem. Or lack thereof. Lack of man problem, actually. Correction. Right? And we already knew. No, how did I not bring this up also? Um, the Morgan Stanley report that I always reference, right? Was it 45% of women between 2018 and 2030 are going to be single, something along those lines. It's in my community tab also. It's way further down though. I posted that forever ago. Right? And Leon says, shout out to you, Leon. Leon says, the economist said in the next 15 years, 40% of some jobs will be gone. LOL. I forgot the white guy's name, but he is a socialist that said private property needs to be taxed different subject. I mean, now we are getting to a little bit of a different subject, but we need to, and I agree with PK, though this whole thing needs to be revamped. This whole thing, right? And PK said, and a restructuring of labor. It needs to. And I know a lot of our conservative brethren don't want to hear that. A lot of our even moderate brethren don't want to hear that. Well, we could continue on this road forever. Let's see where it gets us. There won't be a forever if we continue on this road, by the way. This is unsustainable. It's that simple. Once again, I would like to direct you, for those of you that think Mr. Z is too left, I would like to direct you to the Green Gorilla video where he went into withering detail. This is a philosopher, PhD, so you know he ain't BSing you, right? Where he went into withering detail about how the left is eating men alive from the feminist angle, and the right is eating men alive from the more conservative capitalist angle. Meanwhile, those same women need men. There you go. This is not it's not sustainable. As I said to FD, what have what are we doing? And I actually didn't say it like this, but this is how I should have said it. What's the incentive for men to do the things that we want them to do? Let's say, okay, let's take it off the table. We're gonna take away the respect unless you're the absolute top producers, and even then, if you're a Barack Obama, we'll still have your wife insinuate that she got to deal with you, she got to tolerate you, like you're a toddler. You were president of the United States of America, and your wife is still talking about you like she got to tolerate you. So we're gonna take the respect off the table. We're gonna take the women off the table unless you're the tallest, most charismatic men in America, right? If you're a regular dude, you don't even get the regular chick. You get the below regular chick, right? So we're going to take the women off the table. They're going to tell you how much they don't need you, even though they do. We're effectively taking the children off the table if we take the women off the table. Or you could be a baby daddy. Have fun with that. Have fun with child support court. We're taking long-term marriage off the table, especially if you're black. She's probably going to divorce you within 5 years. We're taking stability off the table because we're raising that bar every day. Inflation is kicking you in the ass. We're taking the sanity of the women and the stability, the mental and emotional stability of the women off the table by making them delusional with all of this reality TV shows, hyper consumerism, and now social media. But by the way, men, black men, we still want you to build and maintain the institutions that, by the way, the rich white guys are trying to tear down because they want you to be precarious, because a precarious labor force is the best for them. Oh, yeah. But they're going to continue to tell you, hey, well, if you became an entrepreneur and started a business, you mean the same business that you can't wait to pounce on and eat it up? And if I'm lucky, if I'm super lucky, I create something that Mark Zuckerberg's going to come around and buy out from under me anyway. That's if I'm good enough. If he just doesn't step on my neck and crush it from the jump. Shout out to Jeff Bezos. Shout out to the Waltons. Shout out to Bill Gates. Shout out to Mark Zuckerberg. If I'm good enough, and I'm big enough, they'll just buy it from under me. That way I'm never competition. And if I'm not big enough, I won't even be competition. They'll just move the Walmart across from my mom and pop shop, and eventually the customers will start going to them because I can't compete with that. So the incentives for men are what now, everyone? You could either be with a rainbow flag advocating black woman, a rainbow flag advocating non-black woman, um not be with anybody, be disrespected by the dominant society, be told how you're a misogynistic, patriarchal a-hole. I mean, right? How's this supposed to work? So what are the incentives again? Right? The incentives are what? Exactly. And this is how we got where we are. So when we say women need men, yes, women need men, but there's a whole lot of obstacles. There's a whole lot of obstacles in the way they think and feel and the way the men think and feel. And the institutions or lack thereof are half the reason that there are so many obstacles. Shout out to Pascal Robert. The 50-year counter-revolutionary movement is half the reason why we're here right now. The elite saying, wait a minute, y'all fighting for rights? Wait a minute, hold up. We got women's rights, LGBTQ rights, black rights. Oh no. Oh no. Time to wage war on these people without telling them. 50 years later. So all that Miss Independent stuff, all that Kim Foster, we need to bring back we don't need these men feminism. By the way, I was able to save that one. I don't think she would have deleted it anyway. I saved that. I'm just beating myself up for not saving Real Talk with Yanni and her somber tone speaking about being celibate. I'm gonna go searching for that video again, right? Because it's eating her up inside. Because nothing else is eating her. Ooh, goddamn, Mr. Z, Jesus, right? So yes, women need men. We all know they need men, except for them. Except for them. While they starve, and their favorite content creators keep on telling them they don't need men or go find them a white man. Shad is extra regular too, ladies. Have fun with that. That's why y'all be paying when y'all be in relationships with them half the times. Ooh, damn, Mr. Z. Reminds you of the black porn star talking about how loser black men are, and then we see a picture of her from years ago, and she's standing next to a white Nazi dude on a balcony. Yeah, women need men. Black women need black men. But many, because of our society, because of the media, because of these institutions, because of academia, think they don't, feel they don't, and they struggle with the consequences of feeling like they don't need men, particularly black men. Have fun with that, right? And I'll pause right there, y'all. That's the end of my commentary. The hell yeah, we just hit an hour. Perfect. Right? Toya said this one does. Right? And women need men. It's that simple. I said it on the previous video, and let me say it with that same tone again. Let me say it with that same gravitas again. Ladies, screw your pride. Ooh, Mr. Z. Yeah, you're human too. See, Mr. Z never spoke like women don't have pride too. Like women don't have ego also. Oh, they do. They're human beings. We have to speak like women are human. They have pride also. And that's why I'm telling them, screw their pride. You need men. You need black men. You need poor, middle class, lower upper middle class, working class black men, not just the rich elite ones. Yes, ladies, you need men. This is why Mr. Z keeps on bringing up Tracy Ellis Ross, Vivica A. Fox, Taraji P. Henson, because those are rich black women who've been making money at least for the past 20 years. Right? At least for the past 20 years. And you can see where they are psychologically. Oh, you could throw Regina Hall in there too. And she still looks good. Right? Right? Oh, that's unfortunate. Right? That's unfortunate. And Big Kev says they gave up on family first, not black men. And thank you for the super chat, right? Which is true. Which is true. Black women need black men. We have spent decades watching them play around, speak like they don't need black men, get in their little covens, talk crap about black men, chastise black men, insult black men, be the bust down for non-black men, particularly white men and Latino men. We have watched them do this for the past few decades, and it's gotten them nothing, and it's hurt the children also, right? And it's gotten them nothing. The men are hurt, the children are hurt, the women are hurt because we told them they don't need men, and they told themselves they don't need men. And we watched their daughters have daddy issues and mommy issues. We watch their sons have daddy issues and mommy issues, and both of the children are undisciplined. But because of the way the system is structured now, the women do a little bit better than the men. The men drop out of school, the women go to college. The women acquire student loan debt, excuse me, student loan debt, which they struggle to pay off. The men don't even go to college because they didn't finish high school. Even the ones that did finish high school didn't go to college because why would you want to go to an institution that tells you how you're a sexist, homophobic, transphobic, patriarchal a-hole, unless of course you regurgitate all the same talking points as us? Then you're a good black man, good boy. By the way, I'm probably cheating on you with Tyrone from down the street. That's a high school dropout. I just want you to know. That's if I'm even with you in college in the first place. Oops. right? And I didn't know that. I knew it was low. I didn't know it was that low. And Lion says, and line 917 says, did you know only 24% of people pay their loans off in full? And there you go. Yeah. And there you go. And the point, black women need black men. Black women need black men. Women need men. Women need men in ways they don't even appreciate. That's why I keep on bringing up Taraji. You see what Angie Martinez and Taraji didn't talk about? Men. They were talking about men. They never said the word man or men. Somebody, if I'm not mistaken, for all of you that watched that interview also, I never saw them say anything about men or a man. And they were talking about men and depression the whole time. I didn't hear not one of them say the word depression. Maybe they did. Same thing with Drew Barrymore in um Tracy Ellis Ross interview. I didn't hear nothing about a man or men, and they were speaking about it. Right? I thought I was watching Harry Potter, the one who shall not be named. The way they were avoiding the word man or men. Don't mention it. Watch your mouth. And I'll truly pause right there. Right? Love, peace, and chicken grease. But ladies, you need men. It's not about your ego. It's not about your pride. You need men. You can't. It's not that men, and yes, men die earlier than women. Men self delete at a higher rate than women. Yes, all of that. All of it. All of it. Right? But what's the point of being alive in this world if you ain't mentally stable anyway? Ooh, goddamn. If you got to get a little tipsy and pop a few antidepressant pills every day to maintain without having a man. Shout out to Crystal and Kerosene. Ooh, goddamn. If being celibate is eating you up alive because you have insane standards and ideas about men. Shout out to Real Talk with Yanni. If you've had a YouTube channel for what, 7, 8 years now, and you start off speaking about colorism, you spoke about black women in luxury, you spoke about how black men ain't ish, you're trying to encourage your subscribers to be divestors, the ones that claim to be divestors or talk about divesting, but they're not really divesting. Meanwhile, every once in a while, you slip up and say how lonely your life is and how your dating life or your relationship life is trash. Shout out to Chrissy. Or you speak about Dusties, right? And beta male coons and beta males, and you have a child from a fellow YouTuber who has multiple kids from multiple women, and then that makes you even more angry at the world. And now you're talking about aborting black male sons and now aborting girls too, black girls. Shout out to Cynthia G. And you got daddy issues out the ass, that part too. Ladies, y'all could be like these women. They don't need men either, right? They don't need black men either. Why aren't you mentioning Paris Milan? Paris Milan is just making money off of y'all. That's why. She don't believe in half of what she says. You want to talk about a capitalist? Now that's a capitalist. I'm gonna sell you on stuff. Meanwhile, I'm getting married. Meanwhile, I am married to a black man. Now he may not be ADOS, but to a black man. Y'all are just a lick for, like I keep on telling you, y'all gonna let Paris Milan grab all that money and sell out in the sunset happy with husband and probably children eventually. I mean, y'all let Beyonce do it. God damn, Mr. Z. Right? And KW Don says, what company makes the Rose toy? It might be a good investment opportunity. Man, look, teacup dogs, the Rose toy, what else? Antidepressant pills, auto manufacturers for them, the drug companies, um, any car company that produces an inordinate amount of small SUVs or crossover SUVs, what else? They're gonna need, right? Tissue for when they crying themselves to sleep at night. Invest in the TV corporate the TV companies or the corporations that produce all of those Lifetime movies, You Will Need No Man type movies and TV shows, reality TV shows, so VH1 and all of that. Invest in that. Invest in Universal and all of those companies that keep on putting out those craptacular movies, right? Invest in all of that. All the luxury brands when it comes to purses and bags and clothes and all of that stuff. Invest in all of that. High heel shoes and all of that, right? The jewelry companies. Invest in all of that, right? But truly, let me get out of here. That's the third time. See, goddamn, better you is right. Mr. Zia say he leaving 3, 4 times. He's right. It's funny because it's true, right? And once again, thank you, KW Don, for the super chat. So we'll end out there. Women need men. They need men whether they like men or not. It's a necessity, it's not a desire. They need men. They need black men in particular. So, ladies, unfortunately, your pride is going to have to take a back seat to your stomach, right? You could starve. And let's be honest, these women ain't really starving, but you could struggle. You could be 43 years old, still living at home with your parents, with your mom. Let's be very clear. Let's be honest. And let's be honest, half of y'all don't want to be in that place with your mom because one wrong word or she wake up on the wrong side of the bed. I have friends that are cops. They'll tell you, these moms, you think they only treat their children, their young children? Nah, even they grown children that live with them in their 20s, 30s, 40s, they be a-holes too. Yeah, even their daughter. Shout out to Rael, right? So are you gonna literally be starving? Probably not. But are you gonna be 30 son, 40 son, living at home with your mom, working some menial job with the title middle management? Probably. Is that gonna be the be all end all of your life? Probably. Are you gonna sneak into the bathroom and try to get off with the shower head that detaches while holding your mouth? Probably. Are you gonna have to use your toy when the other people outside of the house, when they out and about and you home by yourself, so that you don't make too much noise? Probably. But y'all think Mr. Z didn't know? Are you gonna cry afterward? Probably. From loneliness? Probably. But y'all think Mr. Z didn't? Mr. Z, no. And by the way, I'm not making that up. That's real. Spain man, that's my point. I think that's the final comment of today. Women need men. That's my comment. And Spain man, with the final comment of today, is it's sad to see humans are social creatures and typically have an imperative to pair up. And you're shitting on on your potential suitors. I know you said on potential suitors, but yeah, on your potential suitors. Yeah, and that's my point. And that's exactly my point. So you can have your pride, ladies, and you could get off on men flirting with you, and you could get off with that work husband that might be piping, you know he married, stop it. You know he ain't never gonna leave his wife, stop it. And that's your life. Being the side chick to a work husband. Notice I ain't say race, but they work husbands to the Latinos, the whites, and the black dude. Excuse me, they're work wives to the Latinos, the white dudes, and the black dudes. So that's your life. Middle management position, getting piped down by some old, young coworker of yours, white, black, Latino, or otherwise, and bragging to your friends about your 5% increase at work and the fact that you went out and bought you some Louis bag or something. That's your life. And you can afford to, like Dave Ramsey was right about this. You can afford to buy all of those luxury goods and have a shelf full of luxury bags because you live at home with your mom. And you can afford that baby Benz A class or C class or CLA. You're not driving around in the E class, that's for sure. You definitely not driving around in the S class, and you definitely not driving around in the GLS. Oh, that's for sure. You might have a GLK, a GLC, a GLE, a Beamer 3 Series. I mean X3, sorry, X3. Or you might have a Beamer 3 Series. That's possible too. And this is your life. A couple of luxury items and being the side chick to some guy you work with or work for. I'm just saying, right? So, damn, this is the fourth time. All right, for real, for real. I gotta go eat. I got things to do. My lady's waiting. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Right. I'll pause right there. Um, this is unfortunate. I agree with Spain Man. We're social creatures. This is sad. Women need men. It's not a desire. It's a necessity. Um, and ladies, it's not smart to keep on listening to these women on social media, on television shows, on movies that keep on telling you that you don't need guys, you don't need men, or you need like the men at the absolute highest heights, and if you can't get him, then you rather be single, or you end up with the men you don't want and treat him like a temporary man, like the young lady was saying on Obsidian's channel. That's sad. You need men, even the poor men, even the lower middle class men, even the working class men. You need them. And I'll end it right there. Necessity versus desire. It's a necessity. And I'll pause right there. Y'all have a great excuse me. Y'all have a great rest of y'all day. Mr. Z out. All right, everybody.